Now, the controversy surrounding the delineation of the Warri federal constituency of Delta State by the Electoral Commission INEC appears to be swirling ever bigger. On the face of it, it's about the redrawing of administrative boundaries, but scratch beneath the surface and suddenly you'll discover simmering battles over ownership, identity and political representation. And that's led to growing apprehension amongst the various ethnic groups in Warri, despite the fact that INEC has issued a statement making it clear that the delineation exercise has not yet been concluded and calling for further consultations. So now there are fears that all the saber rattling could deepen divisions, potentially igniting something much more combustible in such a volatile environment. And all because the reshaping of a federal constituency is perceived to have great symbolic and material significance, which can deliver access to federal resources, a more powerful legislative voice, and greater political patronage. So how can this delineation exercise be conducted peacefully in such a deeply plural, potentially volatile society? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the former president of the Warri National Council, Collins Eselomo. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
What's the latest on this issue? Where do things stand at the moment from your perspective?
Well, we are charged with the fear that the delineation exercise may be tantamount to crisis, which of course will not be good for the citizens that are domiciled in that geographical expression you call the Warri Federal Constituency. I haven't said that. The core holding here is, if the president caves in to some of this propaganda.
You mean the president of Nigeria?
Nigeria caves into some of this propaganda by the actors in this very geographical expression. There will be a carte blanche open check for these gladiators to commit crime that will be so monumental to the detriment of the administration of this country. Having said that, we must be very scrupulous as to monitor and administer this delineation in peace and in tranquility. There are threats left, right, and center. People taking advantage of this delineation.
And who are those threats coming from?
The threats are coming from, predominantly from the Itsekiri group. The Ijaws, the Ayuris, who is even calling for the arrest of a former deputy governor who is from the Ijaw extraction.
Right. So it's a battle essentially between the Itsekiris and the Ijaws.
So that is,
and your Ijaw.
Exactly.
Right.
That is not only despotic, it's excruciating and insulting to the Ijaw nation. The man was just only exercising his duty, his constitutional duty as a deputy governor for the betterment of the entire state. Here is somebody who is coming after he has left office for 2 years and is threatening, is advising that he should be arrested because what he did was a full reflection of the current delineation from INEC. It's not his fault. We are in a democracy. If the citadel of justice in this country is corrupt, what will happen to the body politic? It will be completely rotten and collapse. Judgment has been given. INEC has been instructed, or through the order.
And you're talking about the Supreme Court judgment.
I'm talking about the Supreme Court judgment.
Right.
INEC has complied. Delineation has been made. Judgment executed by the tripartite tribe, that is Urhobo, Itsekiri, and Ijaw. The judgment has been executed. Result has come out. So people are using this as an excuse to make some nefarious activities as to illegal bunkering and to claim ownership of some geographical expression where the oil is concentrated.
And would that be Warri South?
That is Warri South, Warri
Right.
Southwest, and Warri North.
Right. And who are the majority in that Warri South? Because the Itsekiris are claiming that they're the majority there.
It has been proven beyond all reasonable doubt by the last election of 2023. Before the elections of 2023, it was observed that over 200,000 voters are from that zone. That is the Warri Federal Constituency put together. After the elections, you and I know, even the result that brought Tinubu to office, the differentials were so repulsive that one will have every excuse to complain of the conduct of INEC. But this is not the case here. After the 2023 elections, the Supreme Court judgment was in 2022, the election was in 2023. You will be surprised to know that the result that produced who is now the custodian of the people's legislative rights in the federal constituency was less than 10,000. What happens to the 240,000 voters? That is to tell you somebody is telling lies and another person is telling the truth. And who is telling the truth here is INEC. Because this time around they have to be more pragmatic, prolific, and all-inclusive to go to the wards, the villages, and get the corresponding population of every village. And they came out with this result. It's not INEC's fault. It is as revealed by the last election of 2023. If 10,000, less than 10,000, produced the representative of this federal constituency, what happens to the 240,000? Because the argument is simple. Briefly put, they are saying INEC committed fraud. They did not consider the statistical record as to reflect the number of voters in the three Warri local government. That is Warri North, Warri Southwest, and Warri South. Now here is the result. Less than 10,000 was the result that produced the present member House of Reps candidate. So how do you consider these differentials between 10,000 and 210,000?
So how can it be resolved now? Because I know that INEC is, I mean, a lot of people think that INEC is doing a good job in that place. There's been a lot of consultations, there's a lot of deliberations, and those deliberations are still going on, stakeholder meetings and all the rest of it. Is that the way to resolve it?
It's in anticipation of a very good result. They wouldn't have been issuing threats. And all the threats that they have issued.
You mean the Itsekiris?
The Itsekiris.
What kind of threats?
That they will close oil wells. They made their protest to oil multinationals.
But is that because they predominate in that part of Warri?
They did not. I've just told you the result.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is that how would they then be able to do these things?
They will not do it, but they are just issuing out the threat.
Right, okay.
They won't be able to do it.
And issuing threats makes people nervous.
Nervous, and it will affect the economy.
Yeah.
And jettison the $1 trillion economy of the president. And they are hiding under this, delineation exercise to commit some monumental fraud by, through oil theft, vandalization.
Well, let me just say, in the interest of balanced journalism, because that's what we do here, that the Itsekiris or their representatives have a right of reply to the allegations you're making. So if they want to come on the program and respond
of course they have the right.
They can certainly
like
do
I
that.
normally do. I indemnify a right.
Yeah.
I go and depose an affidavit And when I appear, in case there is any litigation.
No, absolutely. We're not saying you're saying, I'm just saying that they have a right of
They have the right.
to you.
It's on camera,
right.
it's on electronic
Yes,
media,
absolutely.
I sent it to you.
But just listening to you, the way you're talking, and thank you for trying to explain this in a very measured way. This is clearly a very emotive issue, which could potentially deepen into something more threatening, listening to you talk.
Of course.
What's the best way to handle it, to avoid it going from a simmering crisis to an exploding one? Because, I mean, there's been conflict over this issue in the past, hasn't there?
Of course. Of course. And it led to crisis that we were not able to manage. And as we speak, we can't even process it, and we have not recovered from that. That happened before 1999, when the local government was relocated from Ogidigben to Ijaw, to Ogbejo. And there was this 6-4 ward issue. And the Itsekiris took it to the Supreme Court and they were defeated. The relocation of the local government. We don't want that to happen right now. And threats shouldn't be issued. Once you issue threats, it
poisons the atmosphere.
Of course.
Let's be clear on
that. Of course.
Yeah.
It does that. And people are hiding under this delineation thing to issue threat and to take part in all these nefarious activities. I will call names because the threat is in the electronic media. Like Ayiri was just saying that the former deputy governor, who is an Ijaw man, should be arrested. And that what he did was a reflection of the delineation. And that he cannot take that, and they are going to reciprocate. That is a threat.
Yeah, but just calling for somebody to be arrested doesn't mean they're going to be arrested.
No. If you are calling for somebody to be arrested and there is an allegation that is in falsehood, then it's not very good.
Right. But obviously there have to be, I mean, you've got to follow it up with all the legality that goes with it. But one would have thought that the reshaping of a federal constituency is just a technical administrative exercise. Why is this one so divisive and so...
It's because of the complexity. You see, they need to sever this Tompolo Tantita thing from politics.
Right. Now just explain to us, because you mentioned Tompolo.
Yes.
Explain to us, for people who might not know, who Tompolo is and what the threat against him is.
Tompolo is the non-state actor that was employed to oversee
the security of the
architecture of our pipelines and the security of our oil facilities. It was deliberate by the Nigerian state to make sure that oil production increases, and people like Ejele, who just issued trade that I sent to you, should not be acting funny. So Tompolo knows all this. The template or the reference that has been given to Tompolo transcends the Itsekiri area, the Ijaw area, and possibly the Urhobo area.
Right.
And in his employment, you have over 1,400 Itsekiri youths that are in his employment. So what he has discovered right now was a hub of illegal bunkering by Benko Oil and Gas. As the grand patron of the Ijaw Youth Council, I am privileged to some of this security information. And he went there, discovered that there was illegal bunkering perpetrated by the Ejele and the Benko and even the Ayiri himself. So he stopped them because that was going to jettison the $1 trillion economy of the country. And it will result to serious crisis.
Of course.
I'm calling names because they have come out to say so. And I send them to you in advance. So what crime has Tompolo committed? The crime he has committed...
So what is the threat against him?
That is the threat I'm telling you about. And that if Tompolo does his job as prescribed by the state, the people from that community should react. It is in the social media. If the Tompolo comes, they should carry their guns, like Tompolo carries his guns, and they should attack Tompolo. You can imagine a threat that is emanating from just mere word delineation. So you can see that there is more to it.
Yeah, it definitely sounds very, very complicated and, more importantly, very dangerous.
Yes.
And so who do you think can step in? Because part of what you're doing is raising the alarm beforehand to say, we must do something about this to prevent it from exploding.
No, Tompolo raised the alarm.
Yeah.
To our knowledge.
But you're also,
Yes.
you're raising that alarm by
Yes,
coming here to
yes,
talk about it. I mean, who can step in and resolve this issue? Is it the governor of the state? Is it the elders? Or is it someone else?
There were all these people before Tompolo was employed. Tompolo's action, like it or not, has increased the oil production. The offense Tompolo has committed, is it because he's preventing oil theft? Is it because he's stopping illegal bunkering?
No, I understand the point
Is
you're
that
making.
the offense that he has committed?
It's not just about, I mean, obviously you've raised the issue of Tompolo, but
course.
you raised a lot of other issues
Of
before
course.
you came to
course.
Tompolo. What I'm saying is, broadly speaking...
Broadly, nobody can come. Tompolo is solving the problem. He's solving the problem.
No, but what I'm saying is
Yes.
that for peace to reign, for INEC to conduct its delineation exercise successfully, without bloodshed, without things blowing up, what is the best way to deal with it on a macro scale? Yeah. Because you need someone. I mean, Tompolo is a security operative. But you need someone who is on a much bigger scale across the state. Would it be the governor? And what sort of action has the governor taken?
What has the governor got to do with that? The governor has nothing to do with that, even if he's the chief security officer of the state.
Well, he has everything to
All
do
these
with.
things were considered before Tompolo was employed. And this has created a lot of employment across board.
Right.
Urhobos, Itsekiris, and the Ijaws. And the man is doing a good job. It's only going to be jettisoned by the Ejeles, the Benko, who are threatening because
Right.
Tompolo is stopping them from
well,
their nefarious activities.
We're almost out of time.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen next?
Nothing is going to happen so long as Tompolo is in charge.
Right.
And so long as the president gives him the support, I don't think anything will happen. They will be curtailed.
Right.
They will be checked by Tompolo. Because I feel that is the only crime they feel he has committed, for him to have, stopped these leakages.
Right. So when do you
Perpetrated
expect that all this will be concluded?
The delineation has been concluded.
Right.
It has been concluded.
Well, INEC said they were still carrying out consultations, didn't they?
Consultation on what? Consultation has been carried out.
Right.
Stakeholders met in Asaba, met in Abuja, they discussed before they embark on the execution of the judgment. It has been concluded, result has come out. So if you have any query, you put it in writing and prove beyond all reasonable doubt that INEC is corrupt and they have made mistake. So that should be severed from the Tompolo issue.
Right. Okay.
And politics.
Right.
That is what I mean.
Okay. Well, on that note, I want to thank you very much indeed. And I do hope it's resolved peacefully because, as you said, Warri is a lifeline for the Nigerian economy. So we need to be sure that that place remains, beyond the economy, it remains safe.
Of course.
For the people, because the people there are Nigerians.
Of course.
And they are entitled to safety.
They shouldn't take advantage.
Every single ethnic group there is entitled to
safety. They are employed. They are part of it. They are part of the security.
Okay.
That forms part of our declaration.
Okay.
To own and to be self-determined.
Right.
And clean up our environment.
Indeed.
That is what the Tantita thing is doing.
Well, thank you.
And if that is the offense he has committed, because he's trying to protect this government's economy.
I think you've made that point. Thank you very much indeed. Collins, Eselomo.
So those people should be checked. The HLAs,
right. You've made that point.
They should be checked.
We have to go.
Yeah.
Collins Eselomo is the former president of the Warri National Council. Lovely to meet you and thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again next week from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Bye-bye and thank you for watching.